Hello to you. A very good Tuesday evening. Took me a second to remember what day of the week it is. It is indeed Tuesday. It is another pretty toasty one across northern Michigan. A lot of temperatures in the 80s, but things are going to start to cool down a little bit. And it sounds like tomorrow the big story is there's going to be a return of smoke in the skies, right, Joe?
Yeah, there's more of that coming in from the north, actually. So out of Canada, we'll see some of that working through here. And while most areas will start drying out and seeing the humidity go down, there's one area tomorrow where we still later in the day think there's going to be a little bit of rain. So one more day of rain for a few spots.
Okay.
And then we'll dry things out. The humidity is going to go down. Actually, Maya, we have a really, really nice stretch of weather coming up here. So we'll take a look at that all the way through next weekend in a few minutes.
All right. Thank you so much, Joe. We are continuing our coverage on the mass stabbing incident that happened at the Walmart in Traverse City. The man accused of stabbing 11 people could have his bond revoked. That's according to County Prosecutor Noelle Muggenberg, who confirmed to us that she does plan on filing a motion actually today to try to increase or revoke Bradford Gilley's bond. Gilley's $100,000 cash surety bond was set by 86th District Court Magistrate Tammy Rogers. That was yesterday. That bond amount has generated a lot of debate. Muggenberg says that while Gilley is legally entitled to a bond based on his charges, she believes it could have been set higher. It also appears that Gilley made a finger gun hand gesture to the jail camera during his arraignment yesterday, and that gesture is what led Muggenberg to push for not just an increased bond, but to revoke his bond entirely. Now, for comparison, we looked into other criminal cases that we've reported on where the defendant's bond was also set at $100,000. That includes a Wexford County woman who was accused of having drugs, a Kalkaska County man who was accused of sexually assaulting a minor, a Leelanau County man who was accused of assaulting his girlfriend, and an Antrim County man who was accused of embezzling thousands from his parents' bank account. Muggenberg says that after the motion paperwork is filed, a hearing will be scheduled in front of the judge who was assigned to Gilley's case. And tonight we are hearing from a community member many are calling a hero who sprang into action to help bring the chaos to an end on Saturday. We first heard a little bit from Derek Perry yesterday. He was the one in the video that's circulating social media who was holding a gun on Bradford Gilley, demanding that he put the knife down. We are told that he is a married father of 3 and a former U.S. Marine. And Mola Langi spoke with Perry and shares more about his actions during the mass stabbing.
This morning, a hero who helped stop a man accused of stabbing multiple people at a Walmart in Traverse City, Michigan, speaking out.
I didn't think of anything other than trying to get him away from people and get him isolated and get him to put the knife down.
Former Marine Derek Perry says he was checking out at the Walmart Saturday afternoon when he heard a commotion.
A lady was screaming for her son, and all the employees and patrons were clamoring, trying to run in different directions.
The suspect, 42-year-old Bradford James Gilley, fleeing to the parking lot. Perry and others dropping their groceries to surround the man. Perry pulled his gun. It's legal to open carry in Michigan.
Unfortunately, there was kind of like a mob mentality, and some very disturbing things were being said on how to deal with the situation. And I had to block all of that out and focus on him because I ultimately just wanted him to put the knife down and back away until law enforcement got there. I did not see myself as any type of judge, jury, or executioner. I just wanted everyone to be safe.
Did he say anything to you? Were you able to kind of get a state of mind?
And I can see in his eyes that he was wild-eyed, and he did not look like he was in his right mind. And he was saying, "They told me to do it. They told me to do it, and call 911." I said, they're on their way. They're coming.
On Monday, Gilley formally charged with terrorism and 11 counts of assault with the intent to murder. He pleaded not guilty to all charges, telling a police officer before the arraignment he did not want to participate.
Do I have to do this? I don't want to.
Never once, Perry says, did he consider actually pulling the trigger.
I took time to actually look and listen and try to understand his mind state and see that, yes, I am in a position to do something very rash, but it's ultimately my decision to not do it as well. Just de-escalate the situation, try to get him to surrender on his own accord.
Perry, who works in a hospital, says he doesn't feel like a hero.
The only thing that separated me from the other gentleman that had stepped in as well was what else I was carrying in my hands. I think I would have ran out there or walked out there and helped either way. It was just a moment of, I've got a duty to protect.
And we have an update on the status of the patients who were hospitalized at Munson in the attack's aftermath. According to hospital officials, as of this morning, 6 patients are listed in fair condition. 1 patient is in good condition. 2 others were treated and transferred, and 2 patients were treated and released. And as we've learned more about Bradford Gilly, the man again charged in the Walmart stabbing incident, we have heard a lot about a long-running struggle with mental health. Some say the events of this weekend are a tragic example that something needs to be done to address a critical shortage here in northern Michigan. Mark Shillette reports.
Northern Michigan is resilient, but we are at a breaking point.
A week ago, Sarah Lee Sullivan testified in Lansing, painting a picture of the shortage of psychiatric care, especially inpatient beds for such treatment here in northern Michigan.
We average 10 adult psychiatric beds per 100,000 residents, and that is less than half of the recommended total of 97 beds.
A so-called care desert for those dealing with serious mental health issues. Not news to Shane Gilly.
It's put our family through hell.
Shane, the brother of Bradford Gilly, the man charged in the Walmart stabbing, says his family had concerns and saw a need for a very long time.
You can't throw any more flags. You can't wave any more signals. You can't make any more smoke signals. Like, there's been fire here for so long.
Warnings, but not enough long-term treatment options that may have benefited Bradford. Time and time again, run-ins with the law, but time and time again, few places to turn.
And there's nothing available, and there has been nothing available. There's only temporary spots for them.
Shane Gilly has lived that. Sarah Sullivan has seen it. And State Senator John DeMoose says it's time something is done about it. We need more psychiatric beds. What's the solution? What can be done from your line of work on this?
Well, that's the thing, Mark. Everybody knows this is a problem. Everywhere I go, I hear the problem. So we speak up about it. We need more funding. We need more beds. We need more of this. Oh, yeah, we do. And everybody kind of nods their heads. And maybe this will be a giant wake-up call.
Waking up to the possibility that needs are not being met right now. The shortage of care not helpful for potential patients and stressful on an already stretched thin law enforcement community, who often end up dealing with those needing the care the most.
How many times do we have to hear from our sheriff's department, especially up in the UP, where, look, the best option I got is to drive these guys 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours downstate and spend the night and then drive back. Then leave our police forces undermanned to do this. It's a total nightmare. And we have been trying to get funding for this for a long time. And I think now is a definite wake-up call.
The senator believes it shouldn't have taken something like this for the state to finally address the shortage up north. But now that it's happened, he hopes it leads to changes to reduce the odds something like this happens again.
The whole thing, I think, should make us stop and really figure out, what did we learn here? What are we learning here? And how do we do better? And now is the time to take that call seriously.
That was Mark Shillette reporting. Now let's take a look at our question of the day related to Mark's story that you just saw there. Should adding more mental health services be a top priority for state lawmakers? What do you think? Scan the QR code on your screen right now to vote. You can also leave a comment over on our Facebook page. It looks like right now we have 228 votes and more than 100 comments on Facebook. 91% as of right now voting yes. We'll take a look at those results and read a few of your comments toward the end of the show, but we are going to do a complete 180 now and switch gears to talk about football season, the NFL, right around the corner. In fact, training camps have kicked off around the NFL. We know the Detroit Lions camp is taking place in Allen Park, and the Lions are also gearing up for their first preseason game on Thursday night. Well, our sports director, Harrison Beebe, couldn't be there, but luckily we have Alex Eisman. He is the sports director for our sister station down in Flint. He has been covering all of the training camp. He will be at that Hall of Fame game, and he is joining us live now here on Unscripted. Alex, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Super excited to get down there tomorrow and see some new faces on the Lions maybe for the first time, and also just be able to enjoy the festivities for it, honoring some of the NFL greats. It's going to be awesome.
So before we talk about the Hall of Fame game, let's talk a little bit about training camp. You have been there. What are some of the biggest takeaways that you have from covering a couple days at training camp?
Yeah, so the big news to come out of training camp today that Dan Campbell relayed to all of us is that the starters for the Lions will be sitting in the Hall of Fame game. So we don't expect to see Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Gibbs, Montgomery, Hutchinson. All of those guys will most likely be on the sidelines. And even more interesting is that 2 rookies are also expected to sit. Tyleik Williams, first-round defensive tackle. Tate Ratledge, second-round guard/center. He said it's unlikely that either of them play. But in terms of the on-field, today they did their first scrimmage of training camp, and it was good to see a couple things. One, Aiden Hutchinson got a sack, so you like to see him coming back off that injury and being able to hopefully get back to the level that he was playing at last year. The defense was really pretty dominant for the first couple drives. Jared Goff was getting frustrated, but near the end, the run game started to open up. Jahmyr Gibbs busted off a pretty nice 25-yard run to help get them on the board. And then David Montgomery, we got used to seeing him make some tough runs during the season last year, and he had a couple of those today. And ultimately, the offense mounted a comeback to win this scrimmage. Jared Goff placed a really nice ball into a tight window, double coverage on Tim Patrick. So it was a really good showing on both sides of the ball today. I thought yesterday was definitely more of the defense's day. So it was good to see the offense, after slowing down or having a slow start rather, be able to kind of figure it out late in the scrimmage.
Sure. Well, going back to the first preseason game happening on Thursday, you mentioned the starters and 2 rookies are not going to be playing. It's always a little disappointing because the starters are who everyone knows, and you really want to see the rookies get out there and see what they're capable of. But I think this also gives the other players a very unique chance to prove why they deserve to make a spot on the team, right?
Absolutely. The big topic today also is the backup quarterback battle. Kyle Allen and Hendon Hooker are the 2 right now who are fighting for that second spot. I will say Hendon Hooker got more of the snaps in the scrimmage today. So we'll see how they both play. And on top of that, it's also we saw the injury issues that the Lions dealt with last year. So I think it's, you'd rather be safe than sorry than put some of the starters out there in the first preseason game and risk injury for a season where the expectations are as high as ever.
Definitely. Yeah. And like you mentioned, it's great to see that Aiden Hutchinson is back out there getting a sack today. We saw in some video that you shared that I saw Alex Anzalone out there stretching. So it's just really nice to see some of these guys who were injured last year just back out there. They are healthy again, and definitely a lot of high expectations for this season. What are your thoughts? What do you think the Lions will do this year? Do you have like a goal of they have to at least win this many games or make it to this far in the playoffs or win a Super Bowl? What are your expectations?
It's a tough schedule. They have a really, really difficult schedule. They have some brutal road games, especially. So I think expecting 15-2 again this year is a little far-fetched. I would be personally really happy if they were able to get 12 wins. If they were able to get 12 wins, I think they'd be able to still win the NFC North. But just with the teams they're playing, you just can't expect them to replicate something like a 15-2 season. That's so rare in general. And just with the teams that they have lined up to face them, it's going to be a gauntlet for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, like you mentioned, a very tough schedule this year, but still have high hopes. I'm really excited to see this team get back out there. Really excited to see your coverage of the Hall of Fame game on Thursday. So, Alex, thank you so much for joining us here on Unscripted. I'm sure we'll see some highlights of that first preseason game on Thursday from you. So we really appreciate your time. I love talking Lions football. We are going to take a quick commercial break, though. Coming up next, Joe is going to have much more on your forecast for the rest of the work week, including a little tiny bit of a cool down, some smoke in the forecast, maybe a little bit of rain. He'll have the details straight ahead.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
Another really nice day across northern Michigan. Maybe a little hot and humid for some folks, but the good news is tonight it is going to cool down a little bit, so it should be some good sleeping weather. And Joe, it sounds like the next couple of days are going to be pretty nice as well.
Yeah, some good weather. The only thing tomorrow, there's going to be some spots that get a little rain late in the day tomorrow. But after that, yeah, dry. The humidity is going to drop.
Nice.
And it looks good. And then the weekend, if I told you we're going to have 80 degrees and sunshine both days, you'd probably say, I'll take that.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, so we have a nice stretch coming up here. This was earlier today in Suttons Bay in Leelanau County. And a little hazy out there if you look off in the distance. But a nice day today. It's been pretty decent start to the week for the most part. We did have a couple showers up across the UP. There's Grand Traverse Bay. A couple boats out there. Nice. Beautiful day today. All right, let's take a look at radar. We did have a few showers earlier. We just mentioned that. There's not a whole lot going on right now. I'll zoom in here. Just a couple blips of rain here. Roscommon into Ogama counties. And then earlier in the eastern UP, we did have a few thunderstorms right there. That one just exiting across southern Sugar Island, Nebish Island, heading off now into Canada. And that's it as far as any rain for our area. But if you look south of us tonight, there is a frontal boundary kind of near Detroit, south of Chicago. That front is going to stay close enough, and it'll remain south of us, but close enough to at least keep the chance for a few showers in later tomorrow as little impulse kind of rides along this. And if you look way up, you see that big H up near Winnipeg? That's high pressure, and that is going to build down and set up a really nice stretch of weather late this week into the weekend. So here's what happens tonight. Very little, if anything. Clouds start to increase tomorrow, and I mentioned that chance for rain. It's right there. If you take a line, again, I do this a lot because we cover a big area, but if you take a line from Traverse City to near Grayling, Gaylord, over toward Alpena, south of that line is the best chance for rain, and this will be later in the day tomorrow. Right there. It'll rain downstate as well. And then our northern counties remain dry. And then look at Thursday, nice weather. Same thing heading into Friday. Just a nice stretch of weather here, and temperatures are going to be very comfortable. The dew point, the amount of moisture in the air, we usually show this when it's in the muggy, oppressive category, but instead we'll have 50s and 40s, which is the pleasant to refreshing category coming up. We have an air quality alert that's in effect for the eastern UP. Smoke will drop in here tomorrow. So that's the one not good thing, poor air quality, especially during the day Wednesday. That'll kind of get pushed out of here somewhat on Thursday. And there is a look ahead at a pretty darn nice forecast here. We're looking at 70s Thursday and Friday, near 80 over the weekend, and really not much rain, if any. A little bit south tomorrow, but after that, my pretty long dry stretch into early next week.
Love to see it.
Yeah.
I feel like we needed this. It was a pretty slow and kind of cold start to summer.
Yeah, it was. And we've had a fair amount of rain, in some spots.
Definitely.
Some have had 3 inches in a day, so a little break here.
All right, Joe, thank you so much. Let's take another quick break, but we'll check in with our sports director, Harrison Beebe, in just a couple of minutes. Well, you might not be thinking about hockey season in the middle of summer, but some pretty big high school hockey news coming out of Alpena. Our sports director, Harrison Beebe, is live in the content center to pass that news along to us. Harrison.
That's right, Maya. Cam Givens actually played high school hockey at Traverse City Central about 10 years ago under his dad, Chris Givens, legendary head coach of the Trojans. Now Cam is making coaching history of his own, although it's as an assistant head coach. He just won the Division III Assistant Coach of the Year honors by the Michigan High School Hockey Coaches Association. We caught up with Cam this afternoon to learn about the honor that he learned of very surprisingly.
And that's how you draw it up, right? 8 years in, you're going to win Assistant Coach of the Year, correct?
Yeah. I mean, it's not anything I really expected, but it's obviously a big honor. You know, I think there's plenty of coaches around the state that are deserving of it. So definitely a cool surprise for sure. And it's funny because I didn't even know about it, obviously, until, last week. The plaque got lost in the mail. And so that's actually how we found out when we found the plaque. So it was a little overdue, but we'll take it. And it was obviously a cool surprise.
A lot of the spotlight does get put on the head coach, but assistants do the little things to bring up any of the athletes for any given reason. So I guess what has been, as an assistant coach for 8 years, what has been your strategy in getting your teams to the heights it reached, such as this year?
The relationships with the players, as an assistant, you're kind of the good guy.
The good cop.
Yeah, exactly. When it comes to that stuff. So, my goal was always to be a guy that guys can come to and ask questions to and just vent if they need to and try to build those relationships that way. And then hopefully when I do have to be hard on them, that they listen and they know I'm serious.
What was your dad's reaction when you got the award?
He was pretty excited. He's got one of his own as a head coach. So I still haven't gotten one of those, but maybe someday. But no, he was obviously excited for me, and we've obviously had our good battles and stuff together, and it's a fun rivalry. And so he was really happy for me, and was, I'm sure, shocked too, because we all kind of found out about this all at once. So.
Big honor for Cam, and of course, Maya, you'll recall Alpena made a run to the Final Four in Division III hockey this year, so another very well-deserved honor for the Wildcats this year.
And hopefully they can run it back next year. Thanks, Harrison, so much for that. Let's take a quick break, but we'll check out the live results for our question of the day and read a few of your comments straight ahead.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Our question of the day today is, should adding more mental health services be a top priority for state lawmakers? 91% voting yes over on Facebook. Diane says the real question should be, why hasn't it been a priority? Cindy says, absolutely. No one should have to suffer the long-term effects of mental distress. We are all out of time here on Unscripted, but you can join the conversation by going to our Up North Live Facebook page. Thank you so much for joining us tonight at 6:30. We hope to see you back here at 11 o'clock.